The honourable member for Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to begin my time here with a thank you, and I hope the members across the aisle don't get too excited, because it's not for them. Okay, it's for my constituents. For voting me in 14 months ago and sending me here to be a voice for them and to work on their concerns and on their behalf. And who could have predicted that we would have been in the situation that we're currently in? We'll say that my office has been open the entire time during this pandemic to serve and to work and to help constituents. And obviously, we're not able to attend events, but I've looked at ways to be able to connect with constituents and to hear from them, to respond on their behalf. And I've been seeing a lot of successes. It's a lot of work. And I want to say thank you to my staff that work both here in Ottawa and also in Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge. Canadians have made a lot of sacrifices for health and safety to control COVID. I know many who have had COVID, including my extended family and an uncle who passed last year from it. We all have stories during this time. It has been difficult. It's also been a time when people in my community have come together to help each other, whether it's staff and volunteers and Friends in Need Food Bank who have gone the extra mile, putting in the hours to make sure that no one goes hungry, and to organizations, many organizations, including the Seniors Network, which is actually a number of organizations that meet to look for ways to support thousands of seniors in Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge. Or 12-year-old Quinn Callender from Maple Ridge, who innovated and began making ear guards with his 3D printer at home for healthcare workers and was an inspiration for all of us. And of course, all the frontline healthcare workers, their efforts day in and day out for nearly a year now is very much appreciated and valued. And I want to say thank you to the teachers in the schools that are continuing to instruct classes. I was in the classroom actually myself prior to getting elected. So it's just kudos to them and thank you so much for what they're doing. Who could have imagined, as I said, that our world, our nation, community would be turned upside down as it is. Closure of tens of thousands, probably maybe hundreds of thousands of businesses across country from coast to coast to coast. The decimation of our hospitality and tourism sectors. I'll be presenting a petition later this week on behalf of travel agents who have tens of thousands that have really been impacted. On the way flying here to Ottawa, I sat with a flight attendant and told me that there were thousands that had been given layoff notices over the weekend. The wearing of masks, the closure of places of worship. And that's important, I know, for so many, I know of my constituents and across this country. It's the inability to gather for weddings and for those who are passing, those that we care for. It's not wrong to talk about this, and it's right to want to see an end to it. I know that we understand the health concerns, and people are doing their part, but we do want to see an end to it. And it's been frustrating and disturbing to watch the Johnny-come-lately approach of the Liberal government. And I get tired of hearing their talking points day in and day out. And what would that be? We've secured commitments for more vaccines per capita than any other country in the world. You ask a question about vaccine, we've secured more vaccine per capita than anywhere else in the world. Well, it's not how many you have secured or for the future, it's how many people are being vaccinated today, this month, and we are behind. We need 2 million dosages to reach the goal of what the Liberals have said by September per week. This week alone, we've fallen $1.3 million vaccines short alone. Now, there's no doubt that eventually, we'll get the vaccines. And then the Liberals will call an election, or maybe sooner. But we didn't have to be in the situation that we're in. And the situation that we're in right now is because of Liberal incompetence. Incompetence. While the Liberals were betting all our chips on the Chinese vaccine last year with CanSino, our allies were signing deals with AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, but Canada wouldn't sign deals until months later. And all Canadians are paying a price for this failure, Madam Speaker. Let me read a message from Rocky. I received this about an hour ago while I was just preparing some notes. And he says, "Good morning." He sent it in the morning. It's a 3-hour difference. "Good morning, Mark. Did I correctly hear that Canada didn't even get their orders for the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines till late? I would expect the manufacturer to fill orders based on orders in which they were purchased as they came in, or else they could expect severe backlash if they are shown to be given favorites on quantity. Did our country not know that? Or did they expect special treatment because we're in Canada? That's downright juvenile and ignorant if they did. Second, why were all our vaccine eggs in one basket at the onset? I have more faith in Pfizer, which didn't send us any last week or this week, than to get it done by CanSino. This is an unmitigated disaster, and I'm so disappointed that while I've put our savings and house online for our business, the people we elected were unable to take off the political glasses long enough to see what was going on. This is infuriating. Then to blame it entirely on retooling. I was born at night, not last night. And that was from Rocky. Our collaboration working tightly with China, a country that is holding our 2 Michaels in hostage, that's banned many of our exports, that's persecuting Uyghurs, putting them in concentration camps, suppressing human rights in Hong Kong. What gives, Madam Speaker? Recent news that the Liberal-appointed Canadian ambassador to China, Dominique Bolton, he provided advice on sales of OxyContin for their sales to Canada, States. This is very sensitive, especially in British Columbia, where I come from. Thousands have died from overdoses, including there were 500 overdoses in the community of Maple Ridge, which I represent, last year alone. The Liberal COVID action has been pathetic. The health minister agreed to pay $237 million to Baylis Medical for 10,000 ventilators, even though the devices were not approved in any jurisdiction in the world. Baylis Medical, of course, is owned by Frank Baylis. And who is he? A Liberal MP until last year, or till 2019 election. Why was there a fast track for Mr. Baylis's device, but no fast track for rapid testing that every Canadian needs right now? We're finally getting them, but it wasn't fast, and we've suffered from that. We're suffering the consequences today because of this. Why is this former Liberal MP with technology that has no track record been approved? It hasn't been approved anywhere in the world, getting a special deal, and on top of that, was able to pocket an extra $100 million that was sold, the ventilators selling for twice as much as the competition. It's not right, Madam Speaker. It's not right. What's going on? What's going on? The Auditor General would like to know what's going on. He's been an unprecedented time when unprecedented amount of money is being sold. What's happening? We like to know what's going on. The Auditor General would like to know, but the funds are being starved. He's not able to do the reports. Because what happens when you start to dig into the reports, into the finances? What do you start to see in the liberal expenditures? Now, I know this is old news, Madam Speaker, very old news. It's called the WE scandal. I know it's last year. You know, $500,000 was given for speaking fees for, I'll conclude here.
Have to take questions.